Chapter 1 Entering the Earth. You are listening at MTnovel.audio. The sky is covered with dark clouds, the earth is on fire, and the air is filled with the smell of sulfur. This is the legendary Hell. A black-haired figure sat on a throne made of obsidian. In front of him, a small clay dwarf jumped up and hit the black stone above. A mushroom sprouted from the black stone amidst the sound effects. Then, the mushroom fell from the black stone, and the dwarf stepped forward to swallow it. In the blink of an eye, it turned into a big dwarf. So boring. The figure sighed and waved his hand, and both the dwarf and the Super Mario scene in front of him turned into ashes and disappeared. This person's name is Wang Nanxian, and he is the master of this new hell. I also traveled through time when others traveled through time, but I ended up traveling through time to a new hell where there are no bugs. Why am I so unlucky? Wang Nanxian sighed. He had absolute control over this hell. The problem was that there was no other life except him. At first, he was a little excited, but a year later, all he had left was loneliness and mania. Shaking his head, Wang Nanxian's eyes penetrated the void and looked to the dimension above, where there was a planet full of life. There is a mysterious connection between this planet and this hell. Wang Nanxian really wants to enter this planet, but the problem is that he can't. There is a golden defense shield composed of 3 nodes outside the planet. Wang Nanxian once sent a projection to land on the planet, but before he could get close, the projection was shattered by a golden magic whip. After that, he tried many methods, but none of them succeeded. Obviously, there is a super guardian on that planet, a super guardian that even the Lord of Hell is afraid of. These 3 nodes, the more I look at them, the more they look like power grid symbols. Where have I traveled to? Wang Nanxian leaned on the chair with a look of despair. If he continued like this, he might go crazy. What's worse, he couldn't even commit suicide. Unless this hell was destroyed, he, the Lord of Hell, would never die. At this moment, Wang Nanxian noticed a black shadow quietly approaching the planet. He had a layer of strange dark energy on his body, and the guardian circle did not detect him. Wang Nanxian's eyes lit up, and he immediately released a projection that silently approached the black shadow and attached it to the other person's clothes. Black Shadow's strength was far inferior to Wang Nanxian, the Lord of Hell, so he didn't notice anything. He quietly came outside the planet, used the dark energy in his body to dissolve the defensive shield to create a small hole, and then sneaked into the planet secretly. The opportunity has come. Wang Nanxian was overjoyed because the hole was too small. In order to ensure that he could pass through it, he turned 90% of his power into a curse and integrated it into the Black Shadow's body, leaving only 10% to remain attached to the Black Shadow's clothes. Soon, the Black Shadow completely entered the planet, and then the defensive shield returned to normal. Wang Nanxian exhaled and murmured to himself, going in, no matter what, the projection must stay on that planet. Otherwise, I will really die of boredom. In Texas, in the dark night with dark clouds and flashing thunder, a figure appeared on the earth with flames. He laughed loudly and said, my evil spirit has entered the earth. Old man, wait until I find St. Vincent. Sa contract, whether it is earth or hell, will belong to me. This figure, wearing a long black coat, with a pale face and an evil look, is the son of Hell Lord Mephisto, the black-hearted demon. The Black Heart Demon. The son of Hell Demon Mephisto, Wang Nanxian, who was attached to the Black Heart Devil's clothes, was stunned. This name seemed to be a character in Ghost Rider. Could it be that he had traveled to the Ghost Rider plane? No, it should be the Marvel plane. Those 3 nodes are not the symbol of the power grid, but the symbol of Kamatage. The person who shattered my projection before was Bald Chang, Bald Supreme, the Ancient One Master. Wang Nanxian recalled the plot of Ghost Rider and narrowed his eyes slightly. In other words, this is a good opportunity. If it succeeds, no one can stop me from entering the earth. It is worth mentioning that although the Black Heart Demon speaks English, Wang Nanxian can understand it because he can analyze mental fluctuations. In fact, he can learn this language very quickly. While Wang Nanxian was meditating, the Black Heart Demon came to a motorcycle bar. The tall guard at the door tried to stop him from entering, but he pointed at his chest. The next second, the tall guard's body quickly turned black from his chest. Soon, he turned into a mummy and fell to the ground. This was death from sulfur poisoning. Fragile human beings. The Black Heart demon smiled disdainfully, walked into the bar and killed everyone inside. What an unexpected bonus. Wang Nanchuan's eyes lit up, and he quietly took away all the souls of the dead. The Black Heart demon is different from other demons. He has no soul, so he generally does not devour souls. After killing everyone, the Black Heart demon began to summon his men. Soon, a ball of soil formed a bald man in the corner, but it was the Earth demon. Then, a man with long hair and his whole body was covered with water emerged from the drink. This was Water Demon. Finally, a strong wind blew in from outside and turned into a long-haired and bearded man. He was the Wind Demon. These three demons are all angels who fell from heaven. They stayed in the human world and merged with the natural elements to become demons. It can be seen from their tattered clothes that they are not doing well. The black-hearted demon said, "Help me find the St. Fangyansa contract. By then, we will be able to dominate everything." Okay, we don't want to hide every day and live in danger. The three demons looked at each other and agreed. In these years, in order to avoid the pursuit of Kamatage in heaven, they have lived an extremely miserable life. That is to say, they do not need to eat, otherwise they will be absolutely malnourished. The Black Heart demon was about to continue talking, when a loud shout came from outside, "Black Heart." But when Mephisto arrived, Wang Nanxian did not go out with the Black Heart demon. In the human world, he was not afraid of Mephisto, but he could not let him know of his existence for the time being. Mephisto, dressed as an old gentleman, came to persuade the Black Heart demon to return to hell. Naturally, the Black Heart demon was unwilling. He shouted, "Old man, you have lived too long, you deserve to die. What is the greatest sorrow of being a prince? The king will never die, so the black-hearted demon wants to find the contract of St. Fangyansa and build a small hell on earth. Only in this way can he become the master. On earth, I am no match for you, but my knight will find you and kill you." When Mephisto saw that the black-hearted demon was unrepentant, he left a harsh word and turned into a shadow and disappeared. The earth is protected by the supreme mage, and Mephisto can only descend as a projection with little power to trick people into signing soul contracts. The other lords sneered at this and always thought that Mephisto was the shame of hell. Ghost Rider. The hellfire in him will soon belong to me. My black heart will become the master of hell and the world. The black-hearted devil yelled confidently. At this moment, his body suddenly became unable to move. Then, a voice sounded faintly, "I'm sorry, Blackheart classmate, your scene is finished. Please go out and get your lunchbox. Today no chicken legs." Along with this sound, a large amount of black energy came out of the Blackheart demon's body, and then, this black energy enveloped him, making him shrink continuously. Upload new books, please recommend, please collect, please read, please invest. We guarantee to keep updating, and we guarantee to complete the book. Chapter 2. The contract is obtained. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. What happened? The Black Heart demon was shocked, and then he sensed Wang Nanchuan's aura and shouted in disbelief, "Lord! This is impossible. How can there be a Hell Lord on earth?" "Of course, thank you very much." With a smile on his face, Wang Nanxian controlled the puppet curse to gradually turn the Black Heart demon into a puppet. As the Lord of Hell, he was born with many abilities, such as flame control, curses, super strength, contract power, etc. Lord of Hell. The expressions of the three Feng Mo trio changed drastically. They did not dare to approach at all and even wanted to run away. At this time, Wang Nanxian appeared and said coldly, "Kneel there and wait for my order." The three demons did not dare to resist and knelt down obediently. That was a Hell Lord. No. The Black Heart demon was filled with unwillingness. He finally escaped from hell. How could he fail like this? He hasn't even started yet. Unfortunately, no matter how unwilling the Black Heart demon was, he failed. Wrapped in the black energy, he turned into a small black statue floating in the air. Wang Nanxian grabbed the statue and said to the three demons, "Give me your phone." Cell phone, that the three demons were stunned. They had no idea that the Hell Lord's first request was for a mobile phone. Is Hell so high-tech now? Feng Yimo was more clever. He got up and found a mobile phone from the corpse and handed it to Wang Nanxian respectfully. Wang Nanxian took the palm-sized mobile phone and found that it was now 2008. He opened the browser and a news item popped up, about Tony Stark dating a beauty from Maxim magazine. This unbeatable appearance is from the Marvel movie plane. Wang Nanxian shook his head and began to search for the information he wanted on the internet. Feng Yimo carefully reminded, "Lord, Mephisto's knights will find this place soon. We should leave as soon as possible to find the St. Fang'ansa contract." Wang Nanxian asked, "How do you plan to find it?" Feng Yimo replied, "The Black Heart demon said that the contract is hidden in a nearby cemetery, but he didn't say where exactly. You can ask him." The Black Heart statue shouted, "I will never tell you until I die. He doesn't know the specific location. Besides, I have already found out." Wang Nanxian showed his phone to Feng Yimo. There was a piece of news on it. The famous driver Explosive Button was buried in the cemetery outside St. Michael's Church after his death. Explosive Button was the father of Johnny Explosive, the Ghost Rider. The three demons and the Black Heart demon looked unbelieving. How could you find out such a secret location with just a few clicks on your phone? If it were so easy, why hasn't Mephisto found the contract for so many years? These days, the devil also has to keep pace with the times and set out. Wang Nanxian didn't waste any time. He took down the map and turned into a black light and flew towards the cemetery. The wind demon quickly turned into a strong wind and picked up the other two demons to follow Wang Nanxian. In the cemetery outside St. Michael's Church, an old cowboy was repairing the grave with a shovel. At this moment, a gust of wind fell from the sky, causing the fallen leaves to dance around him. The old cowboy hurriedly held down his cowboy hat. Immediately afterwards, the strong wind disappeared, and four figures appeared in front of the old cowboy. The old cowboy's eyes suddenly froze. He could tell at a glance that these four guys were not human beings. Wang Nanxian looked at the old cowboy and asked, "The Ghost Rider Carter Shirey who betrayed Mephisto and stole the contract of St. Fang'ansa, am I not looking for the wrong person?" Shirley stepped back and denied, "You have recognized the wrong person. I am just a gravekeeper." "Yeah." Wang Nanxian raised his hand, and the shovel in Shirley's hand flew into his hand. Shirley was shocked, his eyes were blazing, and he rushed in front of Wang Nanxian at a speed that was completely inappropriate for his age, and grabbed the shovel. Wang Nanxian grabbed the shovel and knocked Shirley away with his backhand. Although Shirley was once a ghost rider, he had not judged souls for hundreds of years. The fire of hell was so weak that it seemed that it would go out at any time. He was no match for Wang Nanxian. Shirley fell to the ground and let out a loud roar without giving up. A holy light flew out of the house in the distance and shot straight towards Wang Nanxian like a sharp arrow. This is the power on the statue of Saint Michael. Sori was able to hide for so long without being discovered by Mephisto because Michael was protecting him. Wang Nanxian took out the statue of the Black Heart demon to resist the holy light. A large amount of black energy emerged from the statue, and the Black Heart demon let out a shrill scream. Is this guy still a human? Not only turn him into a statue, but also use him to resist attacks. The Hell Lord really doesn't have any good things. Catch him. Wang Nanxian ordered, and the three demons reacted and immediately rushed towards Shirley. They were shocked. The Lord actually found the contract through his mobile phone. Isn't this too magical? Soon, Shirley was beaten to death by the three demons. He shouted loudly, "I surrender. I will take you to find the contract, but you must let me go. You are really good at acting." Wang Nanxian sneered, shook his hand, the shovel disappeared into ashes, and a sheepskin scroll appeared out of thin air, which was the legendary St. Fang'ansa contract. Shirley was shocked. "How do you know the contract is hidden in the shovel?" "Because I like watching superhero movies. Speaking of which, they are still as good as before." Unlike now, they are so correct in every aspect. Wang Nanxian put away the contract and said, Carter Shiri, it's such a pity that your soul has been sold to Mephisto. Otherwise, I could have made you my subject. Sori was shocked, your people. Are you the Lord of Hell? Bingo. Wang Nanxian said, sign the contract and contribute the spirit of vengeance to me, and I will grant you 1 year of life. If you don't sign, I will forcibly peel off the spirit of vengeance. At that time, you will taste the most terrible pain in the world. In fact, with Wang Nanxuan's current strength, he may not be able to peel off the spirit of vengeance. Otherwise, he would not sign a contract with Shirley at all. After signing the contract, he can borrow the power of the original body. I'll sign. Shirley said happily, I have no choice anyway. If I sign the contract, I can at least live for 1 more year. Very good. Wang Nanxian nodded with satisfaction. He raised his hand and a transparent contract appeared in front of Shirley. Shirley complained while checking the contents of the contract. You are much better than Mephisto. That bastard did something in the parchment. After opening the parchment, his fingers will be cut. Then, the blood will drip on the contract, and the contract will be established. Is this okay? He is truly the most shameless Lord of Hell. Wang Nanxian and the 3 demons both looked at him with contempt. This method was too low level. Soon, Shirley read the contract and asked, can I add a few more years? Carter Shiri, I know you are stalling for time, and I also know that you signed a contract to remain useful and stop me. Wang Nanxian said, I can process hundreds of souls a minute, and I don't have time to waste with you. Either you sign it, or I forcibly peel off the spirit of vengeance. Shirley's eyes narrowed slightly, and then he happily signed the contract. He asked, which Hell Lord are you? Chapter 3 Ghost Rider. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. You'll find out later. Wang Nanxian activated the power of the contract, and a dim angelic figure made of flames flew out of Carter Shiri's body, which was the spirit of revenge. The spirits of vengeance were originally angels of God, ordered by God to come to the earth to clean up evil. Later, they and the devil were both injured. Mephisto stole some of the seriously injured angels of vengeance and turned them into fallen spirits of vengeance. Because the spirit of vengeance left his body, the old cowboy fell into extreme weakness. He looked at the spirit of vengeance that had been haunting him for half his life and cursed, so you look like this, you are so ugly. The spirit of vengeance was very angry and wanted to struggle, but could not escape Wang Nanxuan's control. Wang Nanxian wasted no time and took the spirit of vengeance into his body. Then, he used the power of the Hell Lord to forcibly erase the spirit of vengeance's consciousness. Wang Nanxian closed his eyes and opened them again after a moment. His eyes were filled with hell fire. The fire quickly spread throughout his body, making him look like a burning man. However, Wang Nanxian did not turn into a skull like the Ghost Riders. Unlike those Ghost Riders, he controlled the spirit of vengeance. Very good. Wang Nanxian put away the flame and took out the statue of the Black Heart Demon again. With a wave of his hand, a black light flew out of the statue and penetrated into Shirley's body. The old cowboy who was about to die immediately recovered to health. The black-hearted demon almost went berserk. Use my power again. Old cowboy, cherish the last year of your life and don't get involved in too many things. Wang Nanxian snapped his fingers, and Shirley fainted. Mtlnovel said coldly, Lord, do you want me to kill him? This does not violate the contract. I don't have the habit of breaking promises. Besides, it's not a bad thing that he's alive. He can help us delay the Ghost Rider. Wang Nanxian glanced at Mtlnovel and said coldly. Mtlnovel smiled awkwardly and did not dare to say anything more. After thinking about it, Wang Nanxian took out 2 balls of flame and handed them to the Earth Demon and the Water Demon, and said, Earth Demon, take the flame with you and go as far as possible. Water Demon, go to the TV station in the city to find a girl named Luo Shan. Woman, don't hurt her, wait for my order. This is Wang Nanxian leaving a way out for himself. If the next battle fails, these 2 flames will make him make a comeback. No matter what, he cannot be completely driven back to hell. Yes, Lord. Although the earth demon and the water demon didn't understand why, they still left quickly with the flames. Then, Wang Nanxian said to the Wind Demon, take me to Shengfangansa village. The village of Santa Fangansa is a village that has believed in God for generations. All the villagers in it are devout believers in God. Later, Mephisto used the promise of eternal life to make them kill each other. In the end, thousands of people died, including the elderly and children. No exception, these souls full of corrupted power have been trapped in the village of Saint Fangansa. As long as you hold the Saint Fangansa contract, you can collect their souls and build a small hell on earth. Mephisto was about to succeed, but unexpectedly, Carter Shirey, whom he sent to collect souls, rebelled and ran away with the contract, which led to so many things happening now. Yes, Lord. Feng Yamo said respectfully. The previous respect was due to fear, but now, there is more respect. This Lord's methods are really extraordinary. Then, the Wind Demon turned into a strong wind and led the way, followed closely by Wang Nanxian. At the same time, in nearby Rocket City, a Harley-Davidson motorcycle, burning with flames and too cool to have friends, was running wildly, with a straight trail of flames behind it, which was very dazzling. The owner of the motorcycle is a flaming skeleton wearing leather clothes and chains. He is Explosive Johnny. When he was young, he was deceived by Mephisto and signed a contract to become the other party's Ghost Rider. Mephisto said he could cure the disease. As a result, his father died in an accident the next day. Hurry to St. Fangansa village, the Black Heart Demon has obtained the contract. Mephisto's urgent voice sounded in Johnny's mind. Without the suppression of Michael's holy power, the location of St. Fangansa's contract could no longer be hidden from him. To be honest, Mephisto was very confused. Why did that idiot get the contract so quickly? Is it possible that the stupid son has finally come to his senses? Should he be comforted or should he yell? Johnny was transforming for the first time, and his reason was completely controlled by the spirit of revenge. The spirit of revenge let out a loud roar, speeded up and hurried on with all its strength. The police cars that wanted to intercept along the way rumbled and exploded in flames. What's even more exaggerated is that when encountering an artificial lake, Ghost Rider didn't take any detours and drove directly across the lake. Newton's coffin board might not be able to hold it down anymore. St. Fangansa village has long been turned into ruins. Wang Nanxian walked among it, and his ears were filled with the sound of ghosts crying and wolves howling. A bunch of greedy idiots, but thanks to your greed, otherwise I wouldn't have had a chance to get out of this predicament. Wang Nanxian murmured to himself that he snatched the St. Fangansa contract not to become a master, but to allow himself to enter the earth without restrictions. He had had enough of this year's loneliness, not to mention that the earth had lots of souls. Wang Nanxian wasted no time and took out the contract to collect the soul. At this moment, accompanied by the roar of a motorcycle, the Ghost Rider officially appeared. Seeing that Wang Nanxian was about to open the contract, the Ghost Rider immediately threw a ball of burning flames at him. Wang Nanxian sidestepped to avoid it. While he forcibly activated the contract, he complained, "Is it such a coincidence?" Mephisto appeared out of thin air. He looked at Wang Nanxian and asked in shock, "You are not a Black Heart. Which level of hell are you the lord of? Why is your breath so strange?" Wang Nanxian did not answer. As the contract was activated, dense crowds of ghosts appeared around him. They rushed towards Wang Nanxian with strange screams that sounded like excitement and relief. "Stop him!" Mephisto screamed, and Ghost Rider was about to rush up on his motorcycle when a gust of wind hit him, knocking him off the motorcycle and onto the ground. The Ghost Rider immediately got up and swung the flame chain towards the Wind Demon, who turned into a violent wind. Unexpectedly, the flame chain swept over the Wind Demon and did not hurt the Wind Demon at all. "Ha ha, you can't hurt me." The Wind Demon laughed proudly, rushed forward and swept the Ghost Rider away again. At the same time, a voice came into the Ghost Rider's ears along the strong wind. "Ghost Rider, do you remember Roseanne from Rocket City?" The Water Demon went to find him. "She did." "You dare?" Ghost Rider roared angrily. the consciousness belonging to explosive Johnny awakened, and tried his best to resist the consciousness of the spirit of revenge. Roseanne was his guilt-filled ex-girlfriend. At the same time, a large number of souls rushed into Wang Nanshuan's body, and Wang Nanxian used them to build a small hell. Once successful, this small hell will be connected to his hell, and by then, Kamatage's formation will no longer be able to stop him. Seeing that Ghost Rider was entangled, Mephisto was in a panic. He thought about it and decided to call the police. Yes, call the police, but not to the ordinary police, but to Kamataje. Ancient E, someone is building a small hell in the world. Do you still care about it? Mephisto shouted to the sky. Everyone present, including Wang Nanxian, looked at Mephisto in shock. You, a lord of hell, actually called the police to Kamataje. Are you still shameless? Chapter 4 Supreme Mage. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. Despite everyone's contempt, Mephisto's expression did not change at all. He was originally the most shameless demon king in hell. More importantly, what he couldn't get, he would rather destroy it than let others get it. For demons, harming others without benefiting oneself is a matter of course. As soon as Mephisto finished speaking, a circle of golden sparks appeared in front of Wang Nanxian. Then, the circle composed of golden sparks quickly grew larger, and a yellow figure loomed behind the circle. Mage Supreme. Wang Nanxian took a breath and hurriedly drew out the power of the Black Heart Demon and turned it into a black ball and shot it towards the space portal. Bang! As soon as the black ball reached the location of the portal, it exploded with a bang. The portal quickly collapsed amid violent vibrations. Before Wang Nanxian could breathe a sigh of relief, sparks appeared again around him, and the rotation speed was much faster than before. Then, a yellow figure walked out of the portal. This figure, with gray hair and a gloomy face, gave people a very unpleasant feeling, but Wang Nanxian breathed a sigh of relief. It was not Ancient One who came, but her eldest disciple, Cassius. Mephisto was stunned, and he shouted dissatisfied, "Why doesn't the Ancient One come? The Supreme Mage does not need to explain to you." Cassius glanced at Mephisto, gathered the magic whip and prepared to attack Wang Nanxian. At this moment, a chain burning with flames hit him hard. Cassius hurriedly waved the magic whip and deflected the flame chain. The chain smashed the stone pillar next to it with a bang, and the gravel flew around. Mephisto shouted angrily, "Ghost Rider, what are you doing? Nothing can happen to Luo Shan." Johnny yelled while slamming the flames on Cassius. The Wind Demon told him that if anything happened to the Lord of Hell, Roseanne would die. Roseanne was his favorite woman and he would never let anything happen to him. Mephisto was almost furious. At such an important time, you actually flirted with me? It's a pity that the spirit of revenge in Johnny is special and Mephisto cannot peel it off. In fact, he can't do anything now and is very frustrated. Go away. Cassius waved the magic whip and smashed the hellfire into pieces one after another. Then, he made a circle with one hand, and a circle of light appeared under Johnny's feet, and Johnny fell uncontrollably. At the critical moment, Feng Mo rushed over, picked up Johnny, and threw him towards Cassius. Cassius cast a spell with both hands, and a glass-like barrier appeared out of thin air. Johnny hit the barrier with a bang and fell down. Cassius controlled the barrier and was about to lock Johnny up. At this moment, a red flame rushed into Johnny's body. Johnny roared, the flames on his body surged, and he punched the barrier to pieces, turning into a butterfly and dissipating, but it was Wang Nanxian who passed on the power of the spirit of vengeance to Johnny. With the support, Johnny's strength greatly increased, and he joined forces with the Wind Demon to fight Cassius. Spirit of vengeance. You not only robbed me of my contract, but also my spirit of vengeance. Mephisto was so angry that he almost vomited blood. Wang Nanxian was too lazy to pay attention to him. As the last soul flew into his body, the small hell was about to be officially completed. It worked. Wang Nanxian was overjoyed. At this critical moment, suddenly, everything around him stopped, like the pause button on a movie. Whether it was the ferocious Johnny, the angry Mephisto, or the excited Wang Nanxian, they were all stuck there. Time pauses. Ancient E, did you do it on purpose? As the Lord of Hell, Wang Nanchuan's consciousness was not stopped. He cursed with mental power, not stopping in the morning or at night, but stopped just when he was about to succeed. This was obviously a trick on him. At this moment, Wang Nanchuan's eyes flashed as he appeared in a quaint hall. A bald woman with an elegant and calm temperament, wearing a yellow robe, was sitting there quietly holding a fan. There is no doubt that she is the one who suppresses all the gods in the world. In the world, the Supreme Mage Ancient One made countless demons fearful. The Supreme Mage raised his hand and said to Wang Nanxian, "Please sit down, the new Lord of Hell." Wang Nanxian glanced at the Supreme Mage and suddenly laughed. He sat down in front of the Supreme Mage and said, "You paused time at the last moment and invited me into the illusion again. Supreme Mage, do you want to negotiate with me?" Gui did not answer directly. She looked at Wang Nanxian with eyes that seemed to see through everything and said, "You are very special." Wang Nanxian felt something in his heart, and said on the surface, "You mean that I am particularly handsome?" Gui smiled slightly and said, "Maybe it means you are particularly thick-skinned." Wang Nanchuan's head was full of black lines, and he said, "Supreme Mage, tell me, what are the conditions? Don't go too far. The small hell is about to be completed. If I am willing, I can hurt both the earth and the earth. You should know that I am barefoot and not afraid of you. Wearing shoes. You are indeed barefoot." Ancient One said, "Not only are you special, this world is also special." Wang Nanxian asked, "What's so special?" Gui raised his fan a little, and a magic light curtain appeared. Within the light curtain, a wise bald man in a wheelchair was teaching a group of students. Wang Nanxian narrowed his eyes slightly. "This is Professor Charles. There were no these mutants a year ago, and then they suddenly appeared, and everyone thought their existence was normal. Only a few people noticed something was wrong." Ancient One said, "Situations like this have occurred 4 times this year. In other words, 4 worlds have merged into this world. Mutants and Ghost Riders all appeared after the fusion of worlds." World fusion. Wang Nanxian became more and more shocked. Gu nodded, and she said, "Yes, world fusion. This year, I have been searching for the truth, but found nothing. The only thing I can be sure of is that world fusion is not over, it will continue. No one knows what this world will be like in the future. You are a very special person, so I can let you keep your little hell, but I have 2 conditions." Wang Nanxian said, "Let's talk about it. Let me declare in advance that I will only accept conditions that are not excessive. After finally becoming the devil, I can no longer wrong myself like before." Gui looked at Wang Nanxian and said, "You cannot harm humans on a large scale, let alone do things that may destroy humans. Do you think I'm the great devil who destroys humanity?" "Well, I really am the great devil." Wang Nanxian said, "Don't worry, I won't do such a thing even if you don't say it. The Lord of Hell may not be the great demon king." Ancient One shook his head and said, "By the way, after the small hell is established, your hell will be related to the earth. If the earth is destroyed, your hell will be affected to a certain extent." "A certain impact?" Wang Nanxian narrowed his eyes and asked, "Supreme Mage, did you do anything secretly? If I had moved my hands or feet, it would not have been a fundamental impact. To put it simply, it would have been affected by the space storm." Ancient One said, "Second, you cannot use violence or killing to collect souls. You can only use contracts to make people voluntarily give their souls to you, similar to Mephisto." Chapter 5 Conditions. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Yes, but the souls of those who offend me belong to me. Also, if the soul happens to appear, I am qualified to intercept it. Of course, a small amount. Wang Nanxian thought for a while and nodded in agreement. This condition was not a big problem because this was the Marvel world and it was not difficult to get humans to sign a soul contract. Hulk and Abomination are fighting, and the building is about to collapse. You are asked to sign a contract, and you will use your soul after death in exchange for escaping. Will you sign it? The Chitauri are attacking New York and the entire city is about to be destroyed. Will you sign or not? Good. Gui did not object. She raised her hand, and golden light intertwined a contract in the air. If you violate the contract, your little hell will collapse. Supreme Mage, these are the only two conditions. Wang Nanxian was a little suspicious. These two conditions were so relaxed as if he was Gui's illegitimate son. Did the Supreme Mage see something? Or, what's wrong with her? Gui smiled and said, if you think it's too little, I can add a few more, I don't mind. Wang Nanxian said, add one more thing. After signing the contract, if you take action against me or plot against me secretly, then the contract will be invalid. Gui glanced at Wang Nanxian and said, okay. Then, Wang Nanxian and Gui pressed their fingerprints on the contract at the same time. The contract lit up with a dazzling golden light, then split into two and flew into Wang Nanxian and Gui's bodies respectively. The contract is officially established. Wang Nanxian breathed a sigh of relief and it was done. At this time, Gui said, your hell is new. What it will develop into in the future is up to you. Wang Nanxian was a little surprised, I decide on my own. Yes, most hells are full of chaos, evil, and killing, but that doesn't mean all hells are like that. Hell is an integral part of the universe, and it has its own responsibilities. Gu nodded and said, the first step you have to do is to give yourself a name for hell, the new lord of hell. Wang Nanxian smiled and said, no rush, let's call it Rebirth Hell for now. In the future, it will have a more suitable name. Ancient Yi and Wang Nanxian communicated with their consciousness. They talked for a long time, and only 1 second passed in the real world. Mephisto saw that time stopped and laughed. Boy, if you want to steal my things, if you have a dream, you will soon know how scary that old woman Gui is. This is the consequence of opposing me. As soon as Mephisto finished speaking, the surrounding time was restored. Wang Nanxian completely constructed a small hell. He was connected to the main body without any obstacles. The main body could transfer power to him at any time, and he could also transfer things back to the Rebirth Hell at any time. The refreshed Wang Nanxian asked with a puzzled look on his face, what's the end? Lao Amo, what's the end? Why didn't I see anything? Mephisto was dumbfounded and roared, Ancient One, why didn't you stop him? Are you teaching me how to do things? Ancient One's cold voice came down from the sky, and then she said to Cassius, don't pay attention to this matter anymore, bring the Ghost Rider back to Kamatage. Is teacher. Although Cassius was puzzled, he still nodded respectfully, and then he swung the magic whip hard at the Ghost Rider. Johnny wanted to dodge, but the flames on his body suddenly became uncontrollable, which made him unable to move and was tied up by the magic whip. Johnny glared at Wang Nanxian. Those uncontrollable flames belong to this guy, Wang Nanxian said. Only by following the Supreme Mage can you escape the shackles of Mephisto. Don't worry about Luo Shan, I will help you take care of her. Johnny growled and wanted to say something. At this time, Cassius cast magic, and the flames on Johnny's body were quickly extinguished. Then, his flesh and blood regenerated, and a melancholy handsome boy appeared in everyone's eyes. Cassius glanced at Wang Nanxian and was about to return to Karmatage. At this moment, Wang Nanxuan's voice sounded in his ears, do you want eternal life? I can give it to you. Cassius paused for a moment, as if nothing happened, opened the portal, and took Johnny back to Karmatage. Mephisto was so angry that he was shaking all over. This time he suffered a big loss. Not only did he lose the Saint Fong'ansa contract, but even the Ghost Rider was abducted. Feng Imo looked at Wang Nanxian with admiration. This time he really got the right boss. Even Gui couldn't help him. Mephisto took a deep breath and said to Wang Nanxian with a smile on his face, young lord, do you want to cooperate? We can join forces to destroy the Ancient One and divide the earth. What do you think? Wang Nanxian snorted coldly. He is the only demon king on earth now. Why would he let other demon kings come in to snatch souls? It is better to have fun when everyone is happy than to have fun alone, Mephisto said without giving up. Ancient One must be plotting against you. If you cooperate with her, you will definitely die. That old woman is ruthless and countless demons have died at her hands. Wang Nanxian said, "This is a good thing. With her blocking you, I can happily harvest souls on the earth." Mephisto was speechless. To be honest, he couldn't figure out why Gui reached an agreement with Wang Nanxian. It wasn't magic. Those who eat alone will not end well. Mephisto lowered his face and said, "Your magic power is so pure, you should be a new lord of hell. Being new means being weak. Aren't you afraid that we will join forces to besiege your hell?" "I'm so scared." Wang Nanxian looked disdainful. His hell had just been born and was protected by the fog of space. In a short period of time, other hells would not be able to find him unless he committed suicide. Of course, only in a short period of time. Hell cannot tolerate the weak. If Wang Nanxian cannot obtain a large number of souls to strengthen hell, what awaits him will only be devoured by other lords. What else Mephisto wanted to say? Wang Nanxian waved his hand and said, "I am eager to experience the American characteristics, so I won't talk nonsense to you. By the way, Lao Mo, do you want this thing?" Wang Nanxian thought of something and took out the statue of the Black Heart Demon from his arms. The Black Heart Demon cursed angrily when he heard his name. Mephisto was stunned. "Are you willing to give him back to me?" Wang Nanxian said matter-of-factly, "Of course I do. This guy is obviously a cheater, and giving it back to you will only be good for me, and there will be no harm." Mephisto and the Black Heart Demon are both speechless. "What you said really makes sense." "I am completely speechless," Mephisto said with a dark face. "Bring it." Wang Nanxian said, "This is not possible. Although it is a scam, it still has to be sold for some money, 10,000 souls. 10,000 souls. Where are you robbing? Do you know how difficult it is to get souls since the rise of Ancient One?" Mephisto cursed a little jumpily. "Souls that die naturally can either go to heaven or go to hell and turn into different demons according to their sins. If we lords want to get some souls, we can only sign contracts, develop believers, or go to hell. Tough fishing in the river Styx, 10,000 souls. I don't want to deceive so many souls even if I work hard for several years." Chapter 6 done. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. That's your thing. Wang Nanxian said, "Okay, 1,000 souls, but I have to choose them myself." Mephisto said, "Dream, I can't give you my collection. 100 inferior souls, that wasteful thing is only worth that much." The so-called inferior souls refer to souls that have been tortured and lost their spirituality. In the eyes of the devil, such souls are just basic materials. The black-hearted demon was furious, and he roared, "What did you say? I am worth 100 souls, and am I still inferior?" Mephisto said very frankly, "No, you are not worth 100 souls. I bought you back just for my face." The Black Heart Demon almost went berserk. If he was not controlled by Wang Nanxian, he would definitely fight with Mephisto. Wang Nanxian ignored the Black Heart Demon and continued to bargain with Mephisto. Finally, the two parties reached a price: pick 5 human souls and 500 inferior souls. Wang Nanxian secretly rejoiced. It worked. Mephisto has some special souls in his hands. They can give me a lot of help. Mephisto was also secretly happy. If I succeed, I will manipulate the souls. As long as those souls enter this kid's hell, I will be able to lock his location. By then, he will be dead. Wang Nanxian and Mephisto looked at each other and smiled together. Then, Wang Nanxian raised his hand to write a contract and said, "Sign the contract." "Good." Mephisto looked at the contract carefully, and after a moment, he pressed his finger on the signature, and the contract was officially established. Wang Nanxian threw the statue of the Black Heart Demon to Mephisto and said, "Soul." Mephisto didn't waste any time. His right hand turned into a claw and grabbed it in the void. 500 souls turned into a ball of black air and appeared in his hand. Ordinary souls were weak and the defensive shield would not stop them. These are 500 inferior souls. As for my collection, I will give you 5 minutes to choose. Mephisto threw the black energy to Wang Nanxian, and then he summoned a magic light curtain, which contained his treasured souls, some of which were famous figures in history, including several kings. To be honest, if it weren't for the plot against Wang Nanxian, Mephisto would never have let the other party choose from these collections. In order to obtain these souls, he had put in a lot of effort. These souls are really good. Hey, is this guy here? Wang Nanxian was not polite and carefully identified these souls. Soon, he selected 5 souls that were useful to him. As the Lord of Hell, he could vaguely sense the memories of these souls. Every time Wang Nanxian picked one, Mephisto's expression became uglier. When Wang Nanxian finished picking, he immediately put away the light curtain. These souls were all his treasures. Boy, let's play slowly in the future. Mephisto left a sad word and disappeared. Wang Nanxian snorted coldly and put away the 5 selected souls. Then, he forcefully shook the black energy in his hand, and the 500 souls instantly turned into 500 soul gold coins, with a human face wailing on each gold coin. Soul gold coins, hard currency in Hell and Dark World, can be stored for a long time. Mephisto sensed this scene and cursed bitterly. He knew that his plan had been seen through by the other party. What a huge loss. It's all your fault, you're a cheater. I'm going to teach you a lesson today. Mephisto spread his fire on the Black Heart demon. If it weren't for this guy, how could he have suffered heavy losses? Mephisto, I will definitely kill you and become the Lord of Hell. The black-hearted demon roared angrily, and the father and son once again began their daily routine of father is kind and son is filial. In Shengfengansa village, Wang Nanxian thought for a while and used magic to contact the Supreme Mage. Supreme Mage, can you help me? Gui did not refuse. She said, the favor must be returned. Can. Wang Nanxian took out 100 soul gold coins and said, 100 soul gold coins, help me get 4 regular identities. My name is Andrew Wang. In addition, help me wash these 5 souls and remove Morpheus. Entrusted hands and feet. As the Lord of Hell, Wang Nanxuan's real name has incredible power, so he needs a pseudonym. Mephisto is also a pseudonym, and that guy also used the name Mephisto. Lord, the identity certificate is not that expensive. It can be exchanged for 1 soul gold coin. Because of Kamatage, souls are very valuable on Earth. 1 soul is at least $100,000. Feng Mo heard this and said hurriedly. It could be heard from his tone that he was very poor. Thinking of something, Feng Mo added, Lord, if you come forward, the people in the underground world will definitely surrender to you. I have no interest in dealing with those scum. Wang Nanxian smiled disdainfully and said, what I want is a completely innocent and completely formal identity. In addition, this is to help you clear your name so that you will not be hunted down again in the future. Feng Mo's eyes lit up and he said gratefully, thank you, Lord. Wang Nanxian raised his hand and placed it a little between Feng Mo's eyebrows. The flaming phoenix mark of rebirth in hell appeared on Feng Mo's eyebrows. This meant that he had officially become a person reborn in hell, a demon. Owner. Feng Mo was so excited that he immediately knelt down and saluted. He was considered a temporary worker before, but now he has officially entered the establishment of Rebirth Hell. Being a subordinate of a demon king is what many demons dream of. Not to mention, this demon king is super awesome. Get up and call me boss from now on. Wang Nanxian said. At this time, a small portal appeared next to him, and then, 4 driver's licenses flew out. At the same time, Wang Nanxuan's 100 soul gold coins and 5 souls flew into the portal. It's so efficient, Supreme Mage. I will help you recommend clients in the future. Wang Nanxian, or Andrew Wang grabbed the driver's license and said with a smile, Gui was too lazy to pay attention to this guy, washed the 5 souls and sent them back to Andrew. Then, the portal quickly disappeared. Andrew sent the 5 souls back to the Rebirth Hell. After thinking about it, the soul rushed into the projection with a ball of blood. The projection quickly transformed into a real flesh and blood body. At the same time, the spirit of revenge was completely swallowed and became a part of Andrew. From now on, Andrew on Earth is the true body, and the one in hell is the body of the devil with most of the power. 4 other demon kings, this is very dangerous, but it is nothing to Andrew, because the 2 hells are connected, and if he is willing, he can extract the body of the Demon King and the power of rebirth in hell at any time. As for why not come directly, the reason is simple. He is too powerful. If he comes directly, even if he does nothing, it will cause a large number of humans to collapse. The main body comes here to have fun. Andrew smiled and said to Feng Mo, let's go to New York. No, let's go to casino first. I want to investigate how depraved America is. Next, there are only two things Andrew has to do: enjoy life and obtain a soul. Obtaining a soul is to enhance strength, and only with enough strength can you continue to enjoy it. After finally entering the earth, you can't treat yourself badly. Chapter 7 Dr. Doom. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. Degenerate, really depraved. In the presidential suite of a hotel in the casino, Andrew stood on the balcony and looked at the feasting below, with a sad look on his face. We had obviously planned to go to New York for business 3 days ago, but in the end, we spent day after day having fun. It's not his fault. There are so many beauties around him, and there are a group of people who are doing everything possible to make him happy. He has been alone for another year, and it is really difficult not to fall. Why are beauties surrounding him? Of course it's because he has money, but he has no choice but to win every bet. Even if he doesn't have money, it's hard, because he won too much. The casino owners even wrote checks to beg him not to come again. Of course, there were also those who wanted to do it hard, and some even wanted to rob Andrew. These people all disappeared mysteriously. They were sent to the rebirth hell together with their souls, and they worked hard for the modernization of the rebirth hell. Well, they were the ones who worked 24 hours a day without wages. Business still needs to be done. I am the target of public criticism now. I have no strength and will be swallowed up by those demon kings sooner or later. Andrew looked far away in the direction of New York and murmured to himself, Dr. Doom, and Tony Stark, we will meet soon. The Doom Group is a well-known emerging technology group in Manhattan in recent years. Its chairman, Victor Von Doom, is a super genius in technology and business. It only took him a few years to develop the Doom Group. It has become a listed company and even owns a small space station in space. The problem is, Dr. Doom is not happy. He came to the United States to open a company, not to make money, but to resurrect his mother with the help of high technology. Dr. Doom's mother Cynthia is a gypsy witch. In order to protect her country, she made a deal with Mephisto. As a result, the country was not saved, but her soul fell into the hands of Mephisto. Did I choose the wrong path? I should study magic. The cold-looking Dr. Doom sat in the office, frowning. With current technology, it is simply impossible to break through hell to save Cynthia. At this moment, a voice suddenly sounded, with your talent, your future in learning magic is limitless. Who? Dr. Doom was startled. He looked up suddenly and saw an oriental man wearing a trench coat and a mysterious temperament sitting opposite him. Andrew smiled and said, don't be nervous. Although I am the devil, I don't eat people. Even if I want to eat them, I won't eat them raw. I will add more chili peppers. Demon King. Your words succeeded in making me even more nervous. After all, Dr. Doom is not an ordinary person. He took a deep breath and asked, excuse me, what is the purpose of Mr. Demon King coming to my office? Andrew glanced at Dr. Doom appreciatively and said, to make a deal with you. I don't make deals with the devil. Dr. Doom said coldly, people who make deals with the devil never end well, such as my mother. It has a bad reputation and it's hard to do business. Andrew sighed and opened his right hand. The soul of a witch fell asleep in his palm. You really don't want to do it? Cynthia. Dr. Doom's expression changed. He stood up suddenly and asked, are you Mephisto? No, I snatched this from Mephisto. Andrew said, it's your decision whether you want to make this deal or not. Dr. Doom's breathing became rapid. He looked at his mother's soul and asked in a deep voice, what do you want? Andrew said, help me do 3 things in the future. Don't worry, what I want you to do will not harm you and your mother. By the way, your Doom Group will be given to me as a gift. Can I help you with 3 things? Dr. Doom was a little surprised. As for the Doom Group, he didn't take it to heart. With his wisdom, it was easy to make money. In fact, Andrew didn't care too much, so he said it was just adding to his head. This deal focuses on 3 things. Dr. Doom has endless potential, and his future achievements will not even be worse than those of Dr. Strange. Dr. Doom did not hesitate and nodded. Okay, I agree to your conditions. As long as you are not plotting against me, I will definitely help you with 3 things in the future. We Hellbenders believe more in contracts. If you violate the contract, your soul will belong to me. Andrew snapped his fingers, and a contract appeared in front of Dr. Doom. Dr. Doom read the contents of the contract in great detail before pressing his fingerprint. The contract officially came into effect. Andrew sent Cynthia's soul to Dr. Doom and said, "She has my magic power. Within 1 year, she can exist in the world as a soul. As for 1 year later, you can handle it yourself. In addition, your blood can awaken her, as long as you are biological. It's none of your trouble." Dr. Doom snorted. He now believed that Andrew was not Mephisto. If he were Mephisto, he would certainly not give Cynthia magic power. Andrew stood up and said, "I only want the shares you have on hand, and you can keep the other things for yourself." Dr. Doom reminded, "I don't have many shares. Also, Doom Group is a listed company, so the procedures are quite cumbersome, such as notifying the major directors, explaining to the Securities Regulatory Commission, etc. It will take some time to complete. My lawyer will contact you." Andrew nodded and disappeared from Dr. Doom, back to the casino to continue having fun, where a costume party was waiting for him. These days, even the devil needs lawyers. Dr. Doom shook his head and couldn't wait to wake up his mother with blood. That afternoon, Dr. Doom's girlfriend, the future Invisible Woman, one of the Fantastic Four, Susan Stone, looked at Dr. Doom in astonishment and asked, "You gave away your company's shares. Are you going to return to Eastern Europe?" "Yes, I can't say too much about the specifics." "Susan, come back with me and I will make you the queen." Dr. Doom nodded. He had talked with Cynthia and was ready to give up everything and return to Latvinia to learn magic. Only in this way could his mother be resurrected or reincarnated as a human. "I don't want to leave New York, Victor. Are you being controlled by someone? Why do you have such crazy ideas?" Susan refused, and Dr. Doom tried to persuade her several times, but failed to persuade Susan. In the end, the two broke up on bad terms. More than 10 days later, Dr. Doom completed all the procedures and hurried back to his hometown with his mother's soul. The story of the Divine Lord Doom has officially begun. Andrew's investment will be returned hundreds of times in the future. Putting aside Doom for the moment, this morning, Susan walked into the chairman's office and asked the slender figure standing in front of the floor-to-ceiling window, "Mr. Wong, are you looking for me?" Although Andrew has Domo's share transfer letter in his hand, the procedures have not been completed and the board of directors has not been convened. Therefore, Susan's title is Mr. Wong. To be precise, Andrew is not the boss of Domo Group yet. Andrew turned around and glanced at Susan, with a flash of appreciation in his eyes. He was truly worthy of the famous blonde sweetheart. He said straight to the point, "Ms. Stone, I plan to promote you to the vice president of the group, so be prepared." Chapter 8 Howard. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Susan was shocked. The new boss actually wanted to promote her. The problem was that she was about to resign. She said tactfully, "Mr. Wong, the board of directors has some objections to the matter between you and Doom. More than just dissent, to be precise, it is very dissatisfied. Doom is the core of Doom Group." As soon as the news of his transfer of shares spread, the market value of Doom Group was directly cut in half. The directors were furious and were preparing to split the group and sell it. Lose, recover the loss. Little things. Andrew said, "The board of directors will meet at noon, you will come with me then." Susan hesitated, "This. What's there to be hesitant about?" Andrew smiled and said, "If you win the bet, you will be the vice president of the group. If you lose the bet, you will be kicked out. You were planning to resign anyway." Susan was a little embarrassed and asked, "Mr. Wong, do you have any way to convince those directors? I'm very good at persuading people. Okay, you can leave. Andrew said. Susan nodded, turned and left. She didn't have high hopes for Andrew's words. Those directors were demons who ate people but never spit out their bones. They would never let Andrew control the Doom group. Susan isn't sad at all, poor Doom. Looking at Susan's infinitely beautiful back, Andrew shook his head. Susan didn't really love Doom. She had another person in her heart. She accepted Doom just because she needed a man's favor. Not long after Susan left, 4 men walked into Andrew's office. The leader was a middle-aged man who looked very wise. He was followed by the Wind Demon, the Earth Demon, and the Water Demon. Different from the previous objection, the 3 demons are now wearing designer suits and high-end leather shoes. They look quite human-like. They have the temperament of a nouveau riche. The Earth Demon is so embarrassing that he didn't even cut off the sign. You are here, Howard. How is the investment company going? Andrew asked. Howard was one of the 5 souls he got from Mephisto, but his body was not original. In the casino, a red-eyed lawyer gambled his soul with Andrew, and then his body became owned by Howard. The formalities are completed. Howard nodded first, and then complained, Boss, I am the world's top scientist. It is a waste of talent to use me as a lawyer. Andrew smiled and said, Don't be anxious. There will be many opportunities for you to perform in the future, but you may be outdone by your son. That boy. Howard was very dissatisfied. He said, Look at all the tidbits he has made. How can he look like a scientist at all? Were you different before you got married? Andrew shook his head and asked, Howard, I'm really curious. With your wisdom, why would you make a deal with Mephisto? There are many things that people are powerless to do. Howard didn't want to say more. He said, What I made with Mephisto was just an ordinary transaction. Who knows, this transaction infected my soul with a dark breath, and he used this dark breath to fish me out of the river Styx. After that, I became his collection. God, I don't know how I lived these past 10 years. I was caught and tortured by him every once in a while. What's worse, he didn't let me study at all. It seems that the latter makes you more resentful. Mephisto is an old man and he doesn't understand your value. Andrew smiled, then he turned to look at the 3 demons and ordered, Your future job is to use money to buy souls in casinos, hospitals and other places. I am a very talkative person and can wait for them to die before taking them away. Soul, the more souls you buy, the richer the rewards I will give you. Boss, we must perform well. The 3 demons also stated that following Andrew these days is really enjoyable. It is completely different from hiding in Tibet in the past. Being able to follow the boss is their greatest luck. Andrew said, Very good. When buying souls, if you meet your peers, that is, devil believers, deal with them directly. Dispose of it directly. The 3 demons were stunned, and the Wind Demon said, Boss, this will anger other demon kings. So what? I am the strongest demon king on earth, and all souls belong to me. Andrew said, Besides, do you think that if you don't kill those believers, they won't be my enemy? The 3 demons reacted, nodded and said, Boss, we know what to do. You are my subordinates. You don't need to be afraid of anyone. I will give you the power, glory, and wealth you want. However, the ugly words come first. All transactions must be voluntary. Also, no harm to mankind is allowed. Andrew said in a cold voice, I believe you don't want to know what will happen if you disobey my orders. The 3 demons hurriedly lowered their heads and said, We don't dare. Andrew waved his hand, Go ahead. I will set performance standards for you every month. Don't let me down. As for the money, don't worry, I will keep transferring it to you. Yes. The 3 demons left respectfully. Howard looked at Andrew and said, Except for the final intimidation, you are completely different from the other demon kings. Whether you are a human being or a devil, you must have some principles. Andrew shook his head and said, Come to the board meeting with me. There will be a lot of documents for you to deal with. Okay, I'll make a guest appearance for 2 more days. Howard winked and said, I am familiar with this place in New York. Do you want to go and have fun together tonight? Maria has gone to heaven and I am single now. How dare you despise your own son, Andrew complained, he said, let's do business first, now is the period when my career is on the rise. Board of Directors. From the very beginning, the directors did not look at Andrew. Ned, an investor from a bank, said directly, Mr. Wong, you are not from the Doom Group. You can just watch this meeting. The shares in your hand, it will be purchased at market price. That's right, just watch and don't say anything. The directors all said that this incident caused them a lot of losses, and they naturally did not have a good attitude towards Andrew. Andrew smiled and said, originally I wanted to be polite, but since you are so rude, I won't pretend anymore. You want to be rude to us? Ned looked disdainful, and the others also sneered, not taking Andrew seriously at all. Susan, who was standing behind Andrew, couldn't help but shake her head. In her opinion, Andrew was a bit ignorant. Only Howard looked at these directors with pity. They had no idea who they had offended. Andrew stopped talking nonsense and his eyes lit up with fire. As soon as those directors came into contact with the fire in his eyes, all the bad things they had done immediately came to mind. Take Ned, for example. He once betrayed his brothers and used loans to kill hundreds of innocent people. Now, these bad things are emerging one by one. Chapter 9 Rebirth Group. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. None of these guys are good. Andrew's eyes flashed with fire, and the directors' souls were instantly ignited by the fire of hell. This is the judging eye of the vengeful spirit. Don't want, all the directors shouted in horror and pain. At this moment, the flames disappeared, and the directors collapsed on their seats covered in sweat, their eyes full of fear, and even their muscles were twitching. Susan was stunned and didn't understand why this happened. She couldn't see the fire in Andrew's eyes because of her position. Andrew stood up and ordered, Howard, sign a contract with them and buy their group shares at the market price. These shares will be recorded in your and Phone Mo's names. In addition, Doom Group has changed its name to Rebirth Group. You will handle the specific procedures. Susan, I am ready to take over the company. I don't want to cause chaos. Howard, a part-time lawyer, nodded and said, yes, boss. Susan asked hesitantly, Mr. Wong, they don't seem to have agreed to sell the shares. Promise, I agree to everything. I will sign the contract immediately and give the shares to Mr. Wong for free. Ned shouted in horror. He just wanted to stay as far away from Andrew as possible. The other directors were also the same. They were filled with fear. Let alone going against Andrew in the future, they would tremble with fear when they heard the name Andrew Wong. Not only that, the previous scene will torture them for the rest of their lives, unless they are willing to make up for their mistakes. Free gift. You think I'm a bandit? Andrew was very dissatisfied. I will not rob you. I will buy the shares you have at the market price. As for the money to buy the shares, you will lend me interest-free loans. Howard complained, what's the difference between this and robbery? How can civilized people call robbery robbery? This is called justice and punishment. Andrew shrugged, turned and left the office. He made an appointment with the owner of the Daily Bugle to discuss the acquisition. If I want to get more souls, I need a media group that belongs to me. Otherwise, how will the people know the truth? If they don't know the truth, how can they be afraid? If they are not afraid, how can they sell their souls to me? Andrew secretly thought, I wonder what the Spider-Man in this world is like. Toby Spider-Man? The Amazing Spider-Man? Or, the Virgin Spider-Man who killed Aunt May? While Andrew was discussing the purchase price with the boss of the Daily Bugle, someone was discussing him. This was normal. After all, he didn't know how to keep a low profile at all. Andrew Wong appeared in the casino more than half a month ago. He won consecutive bets and never lost at all. The money lost to him by major casinos was at least hundreds of millions of dollars. A white man with thin hair reported to the one-eyed black man on the computer screen, many people have gone to look for trouble with him, but they have all disappeared. They must have been killed, more than 10 days ago. Dr. Doom of Doom Group presented the shares to Andrew Wang. In addition, at noon today, the directors of Doom Group sold the shares to him at the market price. We suspect that this person is a psychic with hypnotic abilities. Why superpowers and not mutants? Nick Fury, director of S.H.I.E.L.D., asked. When he mentioned mutants, his tone was obviously not good. The reason is simple. He cannot control mutants, which means that the world is not safe. He has spent many days in the casino. The casino is the territory of the Hellfire Club. If he is a mutant, the Black King will definitely send someone to recruit him. Level 7 Agent Phil Coulson said that the three major factions of mutants, the moderate X-Men, the Extremist Brotherhood, and the elite Hellfire Club, in this world, the Hellfire Club is still there. That makes sense. Nick Fury thought for a while and said, I have to be busy with another thing recently. I will leave this Andrew King to you. Collect evidence, send people to understand his abilities, and then arrest him. Andrew is a billionaire after all, and he needs evidence before he can act. If he was just an ordinary person, Nick Fury would definitely capture him for interrogation, Coulson said. His abilities are very special, and I asked Melinda to help me. Melinda is not free, let Natasha go, she happens to be watching a basketball game in New York. Nick Fury said, after capturing Andrew Wang, transfer his funds to S.H.I.E.L.D's secret account, not to the public account. Coulson knew what Nick Fury meant. He hesitated and nodded, understood. At night, under the slightly dim light, Andrew sent Susan home, who had been working overtime until now. The purchase of the Daily Bugle had almost been discussed, but there was a lot of work to be done. After all, it was a big newspaper, and there were even own TV station. The owner of the Daily Bugle originally didn't want to sell it, but he had no choice but to give it too much. By the way, I am a demon king, why do I have to work overtime? This is unscientific. Andrew secretly complained that after the initial preparations were completed, he had to find someone to help him control the Rebirth group. He was here to enjoy, not to work. At this time, Andrew noticed that Susan beside him was hesitant to speak, and asked with a smile, Is there anything you want to ask me? Yes. Susan nodded and asked, Mr. Wang, this may be a little offensive, are you a mutant? Call me Andrew. I know what you mean. I'm not a mutant. Doom will give me the shares because I made a deal with him, a completely fair deal. Andrew said, as for those directors, Susan, there is a legend of the Ghost Rider in Texas, have you heard of it? Susan said, I've heard some, it seems like a cowboy burning with fire, looking for evildoers to be judged. Ghost Rider started out as an angel of God. Andrew told the story about Ghost Rider, and then said, if I said that I am Ghost Rider, the reason why those directors are so afraid is because I used the eye of judgment to scare them, would you believe it? Susan smiled and said, Andrew, I'm a scientist, although I think it would be cool to date the Ghost Rider. Andrew smiled and said, I ordered a Harley motorcycle online. When it is delivered, I will take you for a ride. By then, you may change your mind. Susan said, I may not be free. My boss has given me a lot of work recently. On the first day I worked for him, I worked overtime until now. Your boss is really hateful. Well, your boss seems to be me, Andrew said pretendingly, and both of them laughed. At this time, they saw several tattooed men in front of them beating two homeless people in rags. Susan, who had a strong sense of justice, immediately stepped forward and shouted, Stop, what are you doing? A tattooed man turned his head and looked at Susan greedily and said, We are driving away monsters, what's the problem? Monster? Andrew and Susan were both stunned. They lowered their heads and found that of the two homeless men, one had a particularly big head and was covered with veins, which made him look particularly ferocious. The other had fish scales on his face, which was very strange. When the two homeless men saw Andrew and the two looking over, they quickly put on their cloaks, got up and tried to escape, but a few tattooed men refused to let them go and kicked them back to the ground. Chapter 10 Failed Mutants. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. Stop or don't blame me for calling the police. Susan took out her cell phone and threatened. Her words angered the tattooed men. They came around aggressively. Susan was startled and couldn't help but retreat. At this time, a tall figure appeared in front of her. "Roll!" Andrew shouted. Several tattooed men were suddenly filled with fear and turned around in panic. One of them was so frightened that he fell to the ground with a thud. Susan blinked. The boss's aura was too strong, right? Having said that, I feel really safe with my boss. Seeing the tattooed man running away, the two homeless men breathed a sigh of relief. They got up and bowed gratefully to Andrew and Susan, then ran towards the dark alley next to them. Susan sighed, "Mutants are pitiful, and mutants who fail to mutate are even more pitiful." Andrew was surprised. A mutant who failed to mutate? Yes, not every mutant can successfully awaken. About 20% of mutants will fail to mutate and have major flaws and weak abilities. For example, the two just now, their official scientific name is Epsilon-level mutants people. Susan nodded and said, "In the past few years, the life of mutants has become increasingly difficult. Other mutants are okay and can hide themselves, but those mutants who fail to mutate are in misery. Many of them have been kicked out of their homes and lost their lives. Work and become a homeless person." Thinking of something, Susan explained, "I have studied mutant genes, so I know a little more. 20% of mutants who fail to mutate." Andrew's eyes lit up. "Whose soul is the best to cheat?" "Ahem, it is best to make a contract with those who have no hope, and those mutants who failed have no hope. I remember there was a mutant who could disable the X gene. Oh, by the way, there happens to be a mutant expert in my hell." Andrew secretly thought that those failed mutants would definitely be willing to exchange their souls after death for returning to normal. By then, he might be able to count the souls until his hands cramped. There are not many mutants in this world. Rebirth in hell. In just over half a month, the rebirth hell has become completely different. Factories have sprung up from the ground. A large number of demons corroded by demonic energy are working overtime to build factories under the command of a dwarf. These factories include robot manufacturing factories, large steel plants using volcanoes as energy, and various parts factories. It is obvious that Andrew wants to make robots. The biggest credit for the factory being able to rise so quickly is Andrew himself. He has control over this hell. Building a factory couldn't be easier. However, he cannot make various precision instruments. He needs to buy them from the earth or bring people with him. Made by myself. There are too few workers and the efficiency is too slow. Andrew, the Demon King's body, shook his head. Currently, there are only a few hundred demons in the rebirth hell. He got them from the casino, which is far from enough. "Boss, are you looking for me?" The dwarf in ghost form floated in front of Andrew and asked respectfully. His name is Bolivar Trask. He is a scientist. He believes that mutants will replace humans in the future, so he developed sentinel robots to exterminate mutants. In order to succeed in research and development, the dwarf experimented on mutants. When Mystique Raven found out, she shot him dead at the peace conference. Trask made a deal with Mephisto during his lifetime, so his soul was collected by Mephisto after his death and now falls into Andrew's hands. Andrew asked, "I would like to ask, is there any way for you to strip the X gene from mutants?" "Mutant?" Trask's eyes lit up. "I'm not tired of talking about this anymore." He said, "Boss, it's difficult to strip off the X gene. It's not a foreign object. The best way is to kill all the mutants and leave no one behind." Andrew was speechless and asked, "Do you hate mutants?" Trask said righteously, "No, everything I do is to prevent humans from being replaced by mutants." "That's disgusting." Andrew snorted and said, "There is a mutant named Leech. He can eliminate the abilities of mutants around him, but it is not permanent. He will recover after leaving his side. If I give you his blood, can you study it? How to completely eliminate the X gene." The Leech is the little boy in X-Men 3. Worthington Industries used his blood to develop an antidote for mutants. However, it was only effective for a short period of time. The United States had not verified the antidote beforehand. Of course, for them, this is a normal operation. At present, Worthington Industries should not have developed an antidote. Of course, even if it does, Andrew will not cheat souls with short-term potions. He is not as bottomless as Mephisto. Are there such mutants? Trask's eyes lit up. He thought for a while and said, permanent elimination is unlikely. However, I can design a restraining device and wear it on my body to suppress the X gene and turn the mutants back into normal humans. Andrew touched his chin and asked, Restrictor. Do you think those mutants who have failed to mutate and live miserable lives would be willing to exchange their souls after death for such a restrainer? Only then did Trask understand what Andrew was thinking, and he said, there should be many people who are willing to, exchange high technology for human souls. Why does it feel weird? Because the painting style is biased. Andrew complained, he said, there are a lot of problems with the prohibition device. More importantly, it may be cracked by others. It is impossible for us to register a patent. You can use a chip to replace the restrainer, but it will take a lot of time. Trask said, Boss, can't your demon power suppress the X gene? I can use a curse to make them lose their mutant abilities, but releasing a permanent curse on a large scale is a bit difficult, even for me. At this point, Andrew suddenly thought, wait a minute, if there is a special medium, my consumption will be greatly reduced. Trask asked, special medium? Yes, Trask, can you extract the factors from the blood of leeches that disable mutant abilities, and copy them in large quantities? Those factors can be used as my medium. Andrew said excitedly, using those factors to activate the curse can easily suppress the mutant's X gene. No problem, but it will take some time and the appropriate equipment. Trask replied confidently that although he was from a bygone era, his wisdom was not outdated. Decades ago, Trask developed a portable instrument that could identify mutants. After his death, this technology was lost, and those scientists have not been able to replicate it until now. Very good. I'll have people get the leech's blood and instruments. You can start researching it as soon as possible and exchange the curse for the soul. This style will suddenly become normal. Andrew smiled and said that the combination of technology and magic seems to be very promising. In fact, Asgard is taking this route. Andrew secretly thought, I have a lot of hell runes in my hands. I need to study them carefully. This can also improve my strength.